A new road was recently constructed here. The quality of the asphalt is good. Drivers know how nice it is to drive on a smooth road. I became curious about the cost of this new asphalt paved road. With this inquiry, I turned to the internet and found out that 1 kilometer of new asphalt pavement costs on average $500,000. Then I became curious about what the average salary is for people who drive on roads costing $500,000 per kilometer. And it turns out that they earn and live on $13 a day, while retirees on $4 a day. It's clear that they somehow make ends meet. They find a way. I'm referring to the overall statistics. Moreover, this difference is roughly the same in different countries. The higher the salary, the more expensive the roads. And just imagine this price gap between a lifeless road and a living person. How much more the lifeless cost compared to the living? I compared only the road. But if you look at the world, at the city, where there are cars, planes, ships, trains, real estate, weapons. On the one hand, everything makes sense. Everything has its market price. But on the other hand, why have we valued human labor so cheaply? Why have we underestimated the value of human life? Why is everything living valued insignificantly and everything lifeless valued so exorbitantly? Yes, we construct new roads. Yes, we develop industry and infrastructure somehow. We spend a huge amount of money to improve the surrounding space, improve technological systems, and modernize various industries. We spend money on festivals, monuments, entertainment, some virtual ideas, or phenomenal nonsense. We spend a lot of money on things that aren't of primary importance in terms of human life. Step outside, look around, and you'll see how much money is spent, in fact, on lifeless, stone, concrete, asphalt, metal, the peculiarities and uniqueness of architecture, the realization of some seemingly expedient ideas. At the same time, human life for some reason is essentially undervalued. Remove it, and who would need this stone, concrete, asphalt, metal, all this colorful, comfortable, spectacular stuff? And do you want to know the overall poverty rate? According to international classification, 736 million people, that's 1 in 10, live below the poverty line on $2 a day. 1 in every 10 people worldwide survives on $2 a day. This is an official statistic from public organizations, the so-called anti-poverty activists. So it turns out that the price of the junk that surrounds us is higher than human life. We have valued the lifeless and devalued the living. This is not even absurd or utopian, it is insane. How might that come to our head and our consciousness? How can something like this even exist? Yet in a consumer society, we accept it as a norm. How? I don't understand. How did we allow ourselves to get to this point of insanity? How do we allow ourselves to agree with this today? The priceless human life is cheaper than garbage. How? Answer that for yourself. We pay for birth, we pay for life, we pay for death. We are like those cheap batteries for the existence of this expensive soulless world. We, like those batteries, have been inserted and used since birth. They use our resources, our power of attention, our physical labor, just so that this consumerist Mordor does not fall apart. Are we truly so crazy that we can't change anything? Are we so lost that we cannot imagine another world where nothing is more priceless than human life? If one person is valuable, then all people are valuable. This is a world where once we stepped over our madness and united around the greatest of ideas, building the creative society, where we decided to fundamentally change everything, where the majority decided to implement a capitalization limit of $10 million, and things surprisingly began to come together, shape up, and align. Need and poverty disappeared because everything was distributed and everyone had the means. Crime ceased to exist as it became unprofitable. The desire to steal and the thirst for money disappeared because, well, it no longer made sense. Wars vanished because, once again, it made no sense. What's there to fight for? Everyone has everything. Everyone is well provided for. Diseases disappeared as profiting from human health and suffering were no longer possible. Fear and worry about tomorrow vanished because we embedded this foundation of universal well-being on the level of the Constitution, the 8 pillars of the creative society. And one day we'll wake up in a happy world where we don't have to run anywhere and work our ass off to survive, where there are decent wages and everyone has everything, where prices are stable and there is no inflation, whereas if there is competition, it is only in charity and good deeds, where there are no fences and no locks on the doors, where the feeling of joy and this lightness of life will finally return to us. A creative society is everyone's golden dream. Let's talk about it more often, louder without hesitation, fear or laziness. Don't know how? Just imagine a happy world and start talking. Any form of communication is always better than silence. And let the lifeless become worthless and the living become priceless. Join in.